let me know when we're ready to rock and roll, Josue. We're good, okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Springfield City Council Chambers. Tonight is Monday, May 12th. The time is 5:05 p.m. We've got 3 meetings of the council scheduled for tonight. The first is a committee of the whole, where we'll hear from the finance team and Capo Buono regarding a budget overview. And we're going to conclude that by 5:30. From 5:30 until 5:30 until 7 rather. Hour and a half we've allotted for a presentation for 1/3 of the departments in the committee of the whole forum. And at 7 o'clock we have a regularly scheduled meeting. So we'll do the budget overview presentation till 5:30, then 5:30 to 7. We'll do the departments that were listed. Those departments are police, law, schools, capital asset, procurement, assessors, internal audit, HR, labor relations, and employee benefits. There will also be 2 other budget hearings on departments. The next is scheduled for the 19th of May at 5 p.m. and we'll hear another 1/3 of city departments at that time. Also on the 22nd of May, 5 p.m., we'll hear from the final departments with a full budget vote to follow the week later on the 27th. So because we've got some stuff to do, just to guide us, I'll put the clock on so we know what we're doing for time before we got to get into the exact departments, starting with police. And we'll turn it over to Capo Buono and her team. Before we do, I want to acknowledge counselors who are present. Counselors Allen, Walsh, Delgado, and Click Bruce are here in person. We're also joined virtually by Counselor Govan, and I believe that is it for now. Okay, so Ms. Buono, you have the floor.
Thank you, Counselor. So this is an overview of the budget. I'm just going to go through an overview of the budget, certain budget drivers, what we call discretionary versus non-discretionary spending, how we've been managing the budget growth or trying to manage the budget growth, and what we anticipate for revenues for FY26. So the overall FY26 budget is going up, is a total budget of $985.7 million. That is a 6.1% increase from FY25. The city's allocation is $315.7 million, which is a 4.7% increase, whereas the school is a $670 million budget, and that's a 6.8% increase from FY25. The average increase for FY26 is $6.1 million. During the FY25 budget process, we worked with the council and Councilor Allen, and we committed to reducing FTEs in the FY26 budget. We did cut 16.9. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. We did cut 16.9 positions through FY25, so it's 16.9, but we did during the year have to add 3 positions. So the net effect was a 13.9 decrease in FTEs. You will see that this is the first time since FY13 that we had a decrease in FTEs in the city budget. We also met with city departments every month. That was a commitment I made to the city council to review expenses. I will say that this budget contains nothing new. It's all core services. It's all maintaining services. The mayor had departments ask for one wish list item. They are not in here. There's nothing new. The only thing I could do was maintain services as is. So we go on to how we are getting to balance. After departments sent in their requests and we asked them to do level service, not level funded, what is it going to take for them to maintain services? Once we received the department request, we had a $24 million gap. So the way we close that gap is, of course, we focused on managing the budget FTEs. As I said, we reduced FTEs by 13.9%. We also, if you take out the budget busters, which I'll talk about later, if you take out transportation, pension, and employee benefits, you'll see that departmental OTPS, which is other than personal services, only grew by 0.4%. The departments all came in with cuts, and we made more, but they really worked hard on this budget for us. So if you take out those three, which were required to pay, departmental OTPS only grew by 0.4%. We also worked and cut 30 general fund FTE positions. We didn't cut them, we adjusted them. We adjusted the rosters to stagger the hiring, or we did salary adjustments. That 13 general fund FTE position adjustments equates to $662,000 that we were able to cut from the budget because we staggered hiring, made salary adjustments, et cetera. What you will see this year is that we got to a point where we came up with as many revenues as we can, estimates, and we cut as many budgets as we could, and we still had a $2 million gap that I couldn't fund. And I had no more cuts to make without interrupting services, and there was no more revenue that, revenue line items that it could increase that I could have DOR approve. So I did go to the mayor, the finance team. We decided that we were going to go to the mayor, and we are using $2 million from the pension reserve. And if you remember, I think Councilor Allen and Councilor Fenton, you were part of setting up that pension reserve account in 2016. We have $19 million in that, and the council did appropriate $2.1 million in free cash to that this past winter. So we are going to use $2 million from pension reserve. We're not touching stabilization reserve. We're just using $2 million from pension reserves, and that's because I got to a point where I didn't have anything more to cut, and I needed more revenue. So the mayor agreed to take $2 million from pension reserve. The mayor and I, we're not willing to cut city services right now. Some of the budget growth drivers, of course, is the school department increased $42.7 million, and transportation went up 2.4 million, sorry, 2.4 million. The pension increased 5.5 million, and employee benefits went up 3 million. So those are some of the drivers that we have no control over. We're required to pay, and they can't be cut. So now we have to understand, when we do go to the budget, there's discretionary versus non-discretionary funding. The discretionary and non-discretionary, 82.5% of the FY26 budget, $813 million, is comprised as non-discretionary costs, such as schools, debt service benefits, pension. These are obligated by law, by ordinance. We cannot cut that. $813 million of the budget we cannot touch. After the non-discretionary costs, less than 1/5 of the budget, $172.7 million, is available to fund discretionary costs. That's other city department operations. Overall, costs associated with departments only increased by 3.2%. So non-discretionary went up 6.8%. City discretionary funding we could cut only went up 3.2%. So we did what we could, I think. So discretionary funds. Now, what makes up discretionary funds? It's not as easy to cut as you think it is. Out of the $172.7 million discretionary costs, $97.1 million is public safety. $21.2 million is public works, trash, recycling, streets, sidewalks. 31.7 is community services. That's veterans, the TJO, the Health and Human Services, the libraries, the parks, the facilities. And then there's city support services that support our residents, 311, city clerk's election, and that's $4 million. And then there's the admin and finance division, and that's $18.9 million. But you need admin and finance to support the other departments. So of the discretionary, it's not that easy. Public service makes up a huge portion of that. Non-discretionary funding. You'll see this chart will show you exactly the increases that make up the 6.8% increase of non-discretionary. School department, we're required to meet net school spending. School transportation, there was an increase every year. We signed a 5-year contract. There was 4% escalator in that. Pension goes up. The pay-go goes up a tiny bit. State assessments went up. The parking contract for valet services went up some. And then benefits went up. So if you do look at it, of the $56.9 million increase to this budget, $51.5 million we couldn't touch. So city services that could be touched only increased $5.4 million. And the next page will show you the department growth. You'll see each department and what that department went up and the change. And you'll see there's a bunch of departments that have negative numbers, which means we cut not only personnel, but we cut their OTPS, and they had negative numbers. I've met with those departments. Some are not happy, but we had to make certain cuts. And you'll see the departments that went up the most: police, fire. Police had, you just agreed to the police contract, 3.5% per year. So that's what makes up most of the police. But it's police, fire, DPW that had the most increases. But of the growth, only 5.4 million were the city departments, were discretionary funds. Now I want to explain more about the FTE and personal service. So you'll see in FY that we have never cut FTE positions. In FY '23, we increased 5.6, in '24, 16.5, in '25, 11.6. This year, we went down to 13.9. And I will continue, and I made a commitment already to Councilor Allen that we will continue to work on reviewing positions and seeing, but with this, we made a substantial cut, and we still need departments to function. So we had a total of 5.6 million in total adjustments, and those are based on the following. 2.3 million was due to vacancy reductions, staggering hiring, and salary adjustments. 3.1 million in offsets to grants and other funding sources. And then, as you know, every year we have a lost time or provision for uncompensated absences. This year, we put a negative 1.5 million in the budget. In FY '26, we're going to increase that to a negative 1.7, which means we get the total budget and then we reduce it by 1.7 million. We acknowledge there are going to be salary savings in departments. So we are saying right now, we acknowledge there will be at least 1.7 million that we will use to offset this uncompensated absences. So that was an increase of 200,000 from last year. So other than personal services, the departments were asked to submit level service and a 3% cut. With those cuts, it came to 4.2 million from level service requests. And as I said, there's no new investment, no new services. It's just maintaining core services. The wish list items, unfortunately, not one of them is in here. So if you take what the OTPS went up 5.7 and you take out benefits and you take out pension, departmental other than personal services only went up 0.4%. I couldn't ask for more than that from departments. So we have our revenue estimates. So state aid went up 6.8, 39 million. Most of that is the school. The city went up in the governor's budget about $1 million in unrestricted general government aid. The taxes, we increased the taxes by the 2.5%, plus we used a $5 million new growth figure. Local receipts, I broke out MGM so that you could see that in FY '25 it was 18.6 million. We are going to be receiving $20.9 million from MGM for the budget. So without that MGM money, we would have a serious issue. We wouldn't be able to. So that MGM money does help offset the budget. And that's why I wanted to take it out of local receipts so that you could see that number. And then you'll also see the pension reserve of $2 million. Excuse me?
The number that's in my head about MGM, 17.6 million. Is that been changed to 20.9?
It goes up, and there was a reduction in the MGM because there was some upfront payments, so we were paying back. But the number now is 20.9 million we'll be receiving from MGM in FY '26. So I'm not sure what the 17 you're speaking of, Counselor.
Can you put your microphone on? Put your microphone on, please.
That was the number that was kind of over time, you know, their $25 million a year thing was 17.6 million payment, not to taxes, because there's no taxes, it's at 21E.
Right, but that goes into revenue. So in FY '26 it's going to be 20 million. But I wanted to call that out because people always say that they don't see MGM contributing to the city budget, and they actually do. And in FY '26, $20 million will be used as revenue in the budget.
All right, that's good. Okay, thank you.
So I guess what I want to say is we listened to all your concerns. We tried to make the cuts we could with maintaining services. We met with departments monthly, went over revenues and expenditures. We were able to cut, we made a commitment of 15. We did cut 16.9. I'm going to call that 17. But we did add 3 positions that the mayor and I felt were necessary after we met with the departments. So the net was 14 positions. We did use $2 million from pension reserve, but I got to a point where I had nothing else to cut, and we had no other revenues. We had to use it, and the mayor was fine with it. We put that money aside for this purpose. And there's $19.1 million in that account, so we could actually use $2 million a year from now through 2034 to offset the budget. So this is not considered one-time revenue. We do not use one-time revenue. When I met with departments, we talked about their spending, and my department, my budget analyst did 3-year spending trends on each line item, and then we decided there were more cuts we could take. Now, I've had departments call me and say, I don't think we can live with that. Well, I think they can. But I did tell them that if during the year in FY26, if they come to a point where they need money or they feel like they're not going to be able to make it or something is going to, some expenditure or something that, some service that they provide is going to be impacted, that they can go to the mayor and come to the city council and ask for money. They could ask for money out of free cash or reserve for contingencies to add back to the budget. That at this point, I was not going to put it back in the budget, but they can come and make that argument to the council, who can then give that money in the budget and increase their budget at that time. I wasn't going to do it now, so the department heads know that they can come to you, and then you can make the decision whether you feel that they need those funds or not.
Sorry, do you mean that like now?
No,
Like
during the year.
During the year.
During the year, if they, so for example, you'll see that, and I hate to use it, I hope he's not here, I cut the park department. If I did substantially, Counselor, based on 3 years. But you'll remember a couple years ago that you gave them $1 million in free cash. So we've slowly cut that. But I did talk to Tommy Ash, and I told him that if, based on historical spending, I think this budget is a good budget and you can live with it. But if he finds out during the year that there's something that he can't do, that he has the right, and he can come to you, and that you can appropriate more funds. So you'll see on that list of what everything, and in your budget books, you can see each department, what % we cut from personal services or what it went down, and what was from OTPS.
Okay, Councilor Walsh, and your mic too, please. Yep.
Do that. What will be cut in the park?
They're all different line items, but it's just expensive. There's no services will be cut. No services, they'll continue doing the same services. It'll be level service. It's level service, the core services will all be done. It was based on historical spending that I felt that we could reduce some line items.
Is it personnel?
No.
No.
They gave up one position.
Okay.
The park department was one of the one positions they gave up. And you'll see in your budget books, it's in the financial summary of all the departments that reduced positions and then what departments added.
Anything else, Councilor Walsh?
Yes, I was just, I'm looking at your revenue estimate page, and the only thing in red, the local receipts, just a little bit of a difference.
The local receipts, certain departments went down. For example, the TJO, they do not have a full-time vet. They are unable to provide services, therefore charge for service for a vet. The building permits went down. Last year they went up because we had some major construction projects, the Eastfield Mall. All the permits came in this year. They will not during fiscal 26, so we had to lower that. Tax title also we went down because there are no auctions and we are still waiting for the new tax title law to be figured out. So we hadn't reduced that, but we do have to reduce that now. So that small decrease was due to a few different departments. We have to, Department of Revenue looks at all our actuals and our estimates. So we have to make adjustments. And if I didn't If we don't lower it, they'll come back and then say, well, you haven't, those revenues haven't come in. So, and the TJO is a prime example. We can't find a full-time vet, therefore we can't charge for services. And there's a large number of strays, so they have been reducing the adoption fees to be able to home these animals.
That's too bad. There's no veterinary school.
Any other
in town.
counselors with questions regarding the budget as a whole? Counselor Govan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Kathy, for this presentation. Very informative, and enlightening. I'm looking at, I know that we said that the school department, we can't touch that. The transportation contract has been concerning to me for the last few years. I'm just wondering if maybe not today, of course, or this year, but for the upcoming year, we can take a look at that. And we signed a 5-year contract. So in preparation, possibly looking at that and finding a way to be more efficient, because I feel like, right now I see buses, school buses that are like empty. They might be 5 students in those school buses of it holds 63 students. My granddaughter's school bus, for example. And I'm just hoping that we can look at that way. Maybe that's something that we can cut, look towards saving money. I don't want to say cut. But just look towards saving some money in that department. And I'm really impressed by your tenacity in cutting some of these department budgets, because I know that that is a lot of work, and it's probably very uh controversial for the department heads, especially. I understand no department would want a cut, of course, but I'm really glad that you're looking at doing that to save some money somehow, even though the budget increased by 6.1%. I'm hoping, of course, my goal is always to think about our residents who are always, talking about the property taxes and how they go up, and they've gone up every year for the last, I want to say 10, 12 years. And we don't, in this time specifically, with we don't know what's going to happen these next few years, and what has happened the last few years, our residents are not going to get a 6.1% increase in their income. And what are they going to do? Some of them won't. I could probably finagle it because all I have to do is get more clients. But I know there are some people that aren't able to do that. People who are on Social Security who have retired will not get a 6% increase in their income. And I'm not saying that that's how much the tax is going to increase by, but that's just an example. So I thank you for being diligent and for being efficient as it seems like you could be. I thank you for that, and always thinking, looking forward to our residents and our population. I'm wondering, has our population decreased in the last 10 years? I forgot when the last census was, but I'm wondering if we can look at that, because I know that a lot of people are moving away because of our property taxes. That's one of the things that they complain about. Of course, we in Massachusetts, we have great services. They're not moving to another town, they're moving out of state. In Massachusetts, we have great, social services, and we pay our taxes for the social services. So I know that when they go to other states, they're going to find that that's not something that happens. But that's the reason, one of the reasons that they say that they're moving out of our city. And I would hate to see, our city be, vacant up to a degree, and with the lower population, because I think this is a great city. We have a wonderful community here, and I want us to make sure that it's vibrant for our residents, and as well as our, administration. So again, thank you so much, and those are my comments.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Govan. Any other counselors before we go into the departments as a whole? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much, Ms. Buono. Give me a minute to get my stuff back up there, and then we can hear from police first. Okay, so we have about a little bit less than an hour and a half, so we can keep track of the time here, counselors. We've got 3, 6, 9 departments to hear from. The first is police. We have, yeah, I did print it, thank you. We have Superintendent Akers here. Thank you for being here. I'd like you to come forward and invite you to present the police department's budget so we can get you out of here and get you back on the street, helping to keep us safe. Superintendent, just give me 1 second, because it does look like my Zoom just dropped the Zoom meeting, so you got to give me a second.
Mr. Council President, could you tell us what
Yes.
page, when we do the department, what page it is?
I will do that for you.
Thank you.
239, they say. Okay, 893, 496, 31918. Okay. Okay, Superintendent, you have the floor. If you could please put your microphone on, there's a little icon on the base of that, right under your folder there. It's got a little face. There you go. Thank you
Good
very much.
afternoon, and thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate the time for you giving me to speak, and the other city council members, thank you. First, I just wanted to thank the mayor for approving the FY26 police budget. I'd also take a little further and thank our CAFO, Kathy Bono, and her financial team for being fair in assessing what our department needs are. Even after just a couple months ago, she found ways to find our $7.2 million request for the Axon project, which also leads me to thanking the City Council for also approving that. It's something that our department needed greatly. I think it's working out fine. We're in the early stages of it, and I think it's going to be something the city won't regret. But here I am. I'm back here again tonight to respectfully request that the members of the City Council approve the mayor's recommended budget without any further cuts to the police department. As the head of the police department, I'm requesting that the budget is approved as presented because it provides the necessary level of funding to continue to deliver the public safety and building towards our community trust. I have an obligation to our residents to provide the best police services possible. And with the budget, as it said, while the budget's it's lean, but it provides the most realistic path to our continued success with the city. I must be strategic and efficient in how I allocate the police resources, and this proposed FY26 budget aligns with the goals of my mission at the Springfield Police Department and allows me to maintain a positive momentum that we've built as recent. With the funding the way it is, it'll allow us to continue to partner with the community to address our crime issues. We can continue enforcing the laws while safeguarding the constitutional rights of our citizens and provide high-quality service to everyone in our city. Importantly, this budget supports the implementation of the new technology that we spoke about earlier and a few months ago, and it helps us proactively prepare for the vacancies and attrition by funding a recruit class of 30 to 50 new police officers, all while ensuring we continue to train our current sworn officers and our civilian staff. The total proposed FY26 budget is $61,727,315, and it addresses many of our most critical needs, especially in our efforts to fight crime and strengthen our community engagement. So naturally, we'll always continue to look for other resources, whether it be through grants or other sources, to support whatever we need in the future. But at this time, I feel that the budget that has been recommended at this time is important that we can keep this budget just to continue our police department running in a positive direction.
Thank you, Commissioner. Councilor Santinello?
Mr. Superintendent, thank you for coming. My opinion, you've done an outstanding job.
Thank you, sir.
LeVar Click Bruce, Chairman of the Public Safety Committee, and myself talked to you about the walking patrols last year, and you implemented those, which was fantastic, you and the mayor. When I talked to you about that, you said that was coming out of overtime, if I recall.
Yes.
Do we have money in this budget for walking patrols? I know you started the walking patrols up in, I believe 5 and 6, or 5 and 7, just recently. Do we have enough money in the budget to continue that program? Because I think it's having an outstanding effect in reducing crime in the city.
Well, I think that the walking patrols are very important to the residents and to the police department. And it does a lot of different things. First of all, it helps the residents get past their fear of crime when they see officers walking on their streets. And it also helps the officers get to know the community once again. We've been separated for many years just riding around in our cruisers going from call to call. And I think that that has a negative effect on policing in today's day. As far as money in the budget, we're going to continue doing it and we're going to make it work. As I said, this is a very lean budget. We don't have a lot of room to play, but that's where my and other officers and supervisors and civilian staff, that's where, you know, our jobs come into play, and we have to make sure that we can put the resources in the places that we need to put them. We'll gauge how much money we'll have. We'll have to move many things around to make things happen, but we're absolutely going to make sure that we don't do anything that takes away from the residents of the city.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. My second question is in regards to your last graduating class. I believe you had a fantastic 46 graduates in that class.
45, sir.
45 in that class. I was happy to attend that. How many patrol people do we have in the budget? They're included in this budget, right, for a full contingent for the whole force?
Well, with this budget, we would have 514 sworn officers. And as I spoke to the mayor and, you know, Capo Bono, we absolutely would like to increase that to 550, but we'll do that when it's fiscally responsible. And at this time, we will absolutely take what we can get out of this budget here and what's being presented to us. And I believe that's going to be one of those things that down the road, I may be approaching the city council.
Right.
And saying, you know, we'd like to do it through attrition. And, you know, we lose people through attrition and, you know, just for whatever reason. And we'd like to try to build those numbers up so we can make sure we have full coverage in the city.
Outstanding job, Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, sir.
Councilor Click Bruce?
Thank you, Council President. First and foremost, I want to thank Superintendent Akers for presenting this budget to us. Definitely in support of it. I really admire what you have done to the police department and taking it to new heights and making sure there's a lot of inclusion. And it's evident. We have 45 new sworn in police officers. That was going to be one of my questions. What was the magic number you want to get to, which you already answered. So I want to say, you know, public safety, I think all of us is one of our top priorities for sure. Because we don't have, if our streets are not safe, then, you know, a lot of this stuff really doesn't even matter. So I really commend you on the work that you're doing. And I want to just put it out there. Like, if you ever get to a point where, and I think you will, you already said it, where you need our help, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and let us know what you need from us, because we want to make sure we're supporting our police officers and making sure our streets are safe. So again, I look forward to supporting this budget. I have my faith in you, and if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. So thank you, Superintendent Akers, for all that you've done and all that you're going to do.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Chairman Click Bruce. Councilor Delgado?
Thank you, Mr. President. I definitely want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues. To you, Superintendent Akers, thank you for the job that you have been doing thus far. Seen a lot of growth from the department and a lot of opportunities for folks to move up. I do have a question. So this budget essentially allocates 514 sworn officers. Is that what we currently sit at right now?
No, we do not have 514
How many
at this time.
How many do we have right now?
We're short of about 30.
And then, do you remember what the number was last year in terms of what we budgeted for? So I'm trying to, because I understand every year we budget for a certain amount, but then we don't fill it. So there's usually, some gaps in funding there. So I was just trying to understand where we were at last year, what we budgeted.
Last year, we were down close to 50.
Okay.
And that is at different times throughout the year. I don't know, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, because what happens is, we fill positions, people leave through retirement or through other means. And so it fluctuates throughout the year. Once if you can make promotions, that takes away from the patrol, the patrol numbers. So it's always fluctuating.
Okay.
But at the end, I believe we were down somewhere around 49 to 50.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand, because I know sometimes we budget for a certain amount, but we don't necessarily fill them, and then there's a savings at a certain point.
I'm sorry.
And if you remember, I said we made salary adjustments equivalent to 662,000.
Yeah.
That, part of that is the savings from July until when the academy is going to start. So we've reduced those salaries, knowing that they will not start, and I think it's what we're planning for November? November 1st.
Okay.
So we have not fully funded all those open positions. We've started funding them starting November 1st. So that's what helps make up that 662,000 we've already cut.
Got it. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
No, other than that, we've definitely supported you. We definitely supported the advancements in technology recently that you mentioned. So we got to do everything to support our police officers. I just want to make sure from that perspective that if we can help you to get to whatever number you need to get, but also understanding that sometimes there is a difference between what we budgeted for and what we actually had. And I know sometimes you guys put cadets into those roles, and so it's not a fully funded police officer, but you're funding it at a cadet level. So there is a difference between what a full police officer makes and a cadet. So that's what I'm just trying to understand, the differences between fiscal years and where we're at now. So that was a very question. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Superintendent, how's recruitment going?
Recruitment's going, well, we'll find out. They just took their exams. I don't have the exact number on how many people took the exam, and that's a lot of times, that's the way that I gauge how many Springfield residents that we have. We're out recruiting. We send people. We have our academy staff that goes out to different areas. The best way for police recruiting is word of mouth from the officers themselves. So what we try to do is to get everybody out there. We put things on social media, and we'll find out, because an exam was just given entrance exam was just given in March, and the scores are just starting to trickle in now. So we won't have a true number until probably the beginning of June.
Do you know what the breakdown, is there more interest in women becoming police officers, or?
There's more interest today than I've ever seen women in policing. We have quite a few women coming through. We've had, not this past academy, I don't know the exact number, but the academy before, we had more females than we ever had. This academy, it wasn't as many, but we had more people. So yes, there's a great interest in females becoming police officers at this time.
Good, because they always improve any organization, obviously.
Well, you make us guys better, so we need that.
But the money's in the budget for any class that you need that will be coming up, correct? You've got enough money in the budget for?
The money in the budget right now allows us, I believe, for 30 positions at this time. And, and I'll be sitting down, with Kathy Bono in the future to see exactly what we could do about that, if anything. We're trying to be fiscally responsible. And if that is the number that gets us to where we need to get, well, we're going to take whatever we can get. because we also understand that there has to be a city run here. And it doesn't all revolve around my department, even though sometimes I try to make it seem that way. But, you know, we're going to do the best that we can possibly do.
Like you're supposed to.
You know,
Are there any new C3 teams?
I'm sorry?
Any new C3, oh, sorry, I'm supposed to be talking through this. Any new C3 teams?
We have, as far as new C3 teams, we have an FTO program going on right now to where I've increased the number of C3 officers. Our newly sworn officers who just came out, they're under the control of our C3 officers and our Metro officers, and I've brought them together, increased their numbers by about 20, so they can train these new officers and they can be trained properly. And they have individual assignments to where they ride with each of these officers. And I am going to continue to try to increase our numbers in our C3 because I think it's an important unit. And, you know, that's why we brought everything under the Neighborhood Stabilization Bureau, which involves the C3s and the Metro units. And I'm going to continue to try to expand that to the best of my ability. And, you know, instead of just having small pockets to where they're involved in, we're going to have them throughout the complete city.
No, thank you, and thank you for the great job you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Walsh. Councilor Allen?
Thanks, Mr. President. Yeah, Supervisor Akers, good to have you here, and thanks for all your efforts at making our police force as great as it can be. You said here, my questions are on staffing, second is on vehicles, and the third is on technology. So let's go with staffing first, which most of the questions have been. So your staff for I think you're budgeted for 514 positions. Is that what you said?
Sworn positions, yes.
Sworn positions. Gotcha.
Right. We have 603 positions overall,
When you count the other positions as well.
yes.
And does that mean that, do you know what your current staffing is after we just added the class that just graduated? Like sworn positions, do you know how many you have now?
We'd be 30 under that, so probably around 490 or so.
484, 490,
So,
all right.
yeah.
As the strategy is to just keep adding, I'm not questioning that strategy, but just keep adding until we get to that sworn position. Hopefully
If that's at all possible, yes, I will keep adding until we can hit that magic number, which is very difficult because anytime, even though we just graduated a class of 45 people, we've probably lost 30 plus this year. You know, so it's very difficult for us to always put a number on it,
Right.
to where we have to be. We just want to make sure that we get to a point to where we have full coverage that we feel that we need.
I hope you feel the support of the council, because I can't ever remember when we would have cut anything like that. We're just supporting the addition of classes, academies, whatever, and whatever people you can get. Okay, so that's good. I know it's a struggle keeping them there, and I was amazed after the recruiting issues, after George Floyd and all those years, that you were able to get 50 people into the academy or something. That was amazing. Secondly, the recent $7 million expenditure on the tasers, and I forget the exact name of it. Is there another thing like that coming? Is there any other big technology upgrades coming, and is a natural follow-up to that, or are we good for a while? In terms of,
Well, we have a 5-year contract, and a lot of our parts of our contract is they'll continue to upgrade as our contract goes along, as long as we're in. That was why we signed a 5-year contract, so we didn't have to continuously upgrade and pay big dollars for every upgrade that came through. Now, if you're asking about, is there more technology? There's more technology every minute of the day. You have different companies coming out, you have different products coming out, but we think that we have one of the best companies that are out there that's going to suit our needs. And I do not think, I would never say, oh, I'm not going to come forward and ask, for funding for something else that comes if I feel it's going to be better. But as it stands right now, the suite that we brought on with Axon. We think that that should, we should be all set for a little while.
Okay.
And it's not always going to be with Axon, with the tasers or the body-worn cameras. It could be some other type of technology that we feel that we need, because in policing, it changes every day. And every time something comes about and we have to change the way that we do business in the community, we have to try to keep up with it. And I think that's what our problem was in the past, to where we waited so long to do that, to now we had to go and swallow that whole egg because we just didn't keep up with it in the past. And if we can keep up with small amounts every year, if that's what we need to do, then that's what I'm going to be requesting to do. But I think that we've probably taken care of that problem for the near future, yes.
All right, great. My last question is about vehicles. Over the course of today, I've heard about a consolidation effort going to be under Chris Signoli. So all our vehicles that we purchase for police, fire, and anything else will be one coordinated plan, and that he will be the point person on that. Is that something you see as a plus, or, I mean, it's something, from my standpoint, that's a plus, because we always are keeping track of vehicles being bought by different parts of the organization. And we approved $1 million. Well, we didn't approve it in the committee, we approved it. Take money out of free cash, $1 million, and bond the rest to have this consolidated vehicle plan. Is that, you good with that?
Well, I'm not really familiar with that, exactly how it's going to work. I'd have to look into that a little bit deeper. I know that my department has the largest fleet of vehicles and the most used vehicles in the city. So I don't know if there's anyone that can compare their department with the amount of vehicles that we have and the amount of use that they're getting. Our vehicles go 24/7, and we have to make sure that, we have control of what we have. At this time, what we try to do, and it's getting better now that we've been able to start buying some more vehicles, but we're piecemealing off of maybe damaged vehicles or total vehicles and taking parts off of it. So I'd really have to look at what the plan is with Mr. Signoli, because my thought is no one can really say, what we need unless you actually deal with the amount of volume that we have with our vehicles. And we have our occupational hazards, such as many accidents and so on and so forth. Hopefully we can bring that number way down, but it's hard to just sit back and look at the police department and say, this is the amount of vehicles that we're going to need in a certain time, because, we're 24/7 and we have more vehicles than any other department in this city. So I'm more than happy to look at that. I'm not really aware of it, what it entails right now, but if we can just make sure our vehicles, and we keep our officers out there in safe vehicles, and we can continue to turn over our vehicles, I'm on board with anything that comes about.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Any other councilors for the police department? Okay. Seeing none, thank you, Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Appreciate your time.
I'm sorry,
Next-
Mr. President.
Oh, okay, Councilor Govan.
I
Sorry, saw your-
apologize.
Go ahead.
I think my hand went down after it's been up for a while. I apologize. Thank you, Mr. President. Superintendent Akers, I also want to commend you on your work since you've been in charge of that department. It's true that the department is, one of the most important departments, so I don't blame you for thinking that's the only department in the city. You should feel that way. But with the recent graduates, from what I understood you say, is that you graduated 45, but you're losing 30. So basically you only have an additional 15 to add. Well, additional 45, but it's not going to come out to 45 additional officers. Is there a way, do you think, that we can improve those numbers somehow? Because I agree with Councilor Walsh, increasing the number of officers out here, I think, is important. And thinking about, going forward, I'm hoping that our population in the city will continue to grow and not decrease, but looking at that number and those numbers.
Well, what we're trying to do, different than in the past. In the past, we've always had a waiting list. We would actually we would exhaust our numbers that we're allowed to put into an academy. We may still have 200 people waiting to get in. So what we could do is when the academy graduated, we'd be able to turn right around and put another academy in there. We aren't seeing those numbers anymore. And so, and when we're talking about losing as many people as we bring in, we're just at a time right now to where retirements it's at a time to where when hiring was done, maybe 30, 35 years ago, a lot of people, a lot of academies were put in at the same, back to back to back. Well, those people are aging out now. I think I'm the only crazy one still hanging around here. I don't know. But,
We
they're
appreciate that.
they're aging out and people are retiring. And so we're in that cycle right now. After a few years, I think that's going to slow down because we also had a gap where we couldn't hire for quite some time back in the day. And so you're not going to find as many officers that are coming up on their 30, 32 years to where they're retiring. So I'm hoping that it does slow down in the next few years. And I'm hoping also that we get past this phase that we're in to where we're not getting the numbers that we used to get. I'm hoping that we'll turn the corner and we'll be able to pick it right back up, and because we still have an honorable career here. And I think that we've gone through a few things, some warranted, some not, to where people are very hesitant. And I truly believe that that's going to change, and it will come back to the way that it was. And our numbers will start growing again, and we will start developing those waiting lists again.
I appreciate that. And I agree with you. I know that the country went through some challenging times and it's continuing, right? But I think when having someone like you at the lead in a department like this, I think will hopefully, encourage more of our people in the city of Springfield to, look at a career in law enforcement as something that is honorable, because I agree that it is, and it could be a really good career. So again, high school students, I always think about the high school students, recruit them as kind of like junior cadets or something like that. But I'm sure you've thought about that. But regarding the budget, I think it's, from what Kathy Bono said, I know it was difficult making the cuts to all the different budgets. I'm glad that the police department, of course, is one of the most importance because of public safety, is going to continue to be funded where you're not reducing any services. So thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Superintendent Akers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Govan, and thank you, Superintendent Akers, for your time. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next, we have the Law Department, Solicitor Bonacani. Councilors, this is an hour-and-a-half meeting. We have 9 departments to get through. Understandably, it was police. We spent about a half hour on police. So that leaves us with less than 6 minutes per the 8 departments left. So what I'm going to do at the start of each department to move us along a little bit quicker is I'm going to tell you what page it is in the book, and I'm going to tell you just the highlights about the changes to FTEs and overall budget, and then we'll leave it for a very brief presentation from whoever the department head is. So we've got law here. It's page 111 in your books. There is a reduction of 2.2 FTEs and an overall increase in 1.5 in the overall budget. Solicitor Bonacani.
Thank you, Mr. President, through you to all the city councilors. Good evening to all of you. That's great news. 6 minutes or less. That's fantastic for me. Thank you. As the president summarized, the proposal before this council for recommended FY26 budget is for $3.361,417,000. That is for positions for now 30.5 general funded FTEs. That would be a reduction of 2.5 positions in the law department. And OTPS there's a slight reduction in that. With the 2% increase proposed for all department staff, the proposed budget would go up 1.5%. The trends that we're seeing in the law department, and something I'm sure I'm going to continue to have conversations with the entire council about, is we continue to struggle to attract full-time positions, full-time staff members to the department. I'm on round 7 for the first associate position. We're around 4 for the third associate position. First associate is for those individuals who have around 5 to 10 years' experience in the law department or law services. So it's really more of a senior staff position. Third are for the entry-level attorneys in the office, and we're continuing to struggle to attract those positions as much as we're trying to be as aggressive as we can. I've worked with the PRC to see about potentially sometimes offering less than just the bare minimum in offers with staff, but we continue to struggle to recruit or attract staff members. That has led us to then, as a result, rely more and more on outside attorneys, OTPS attorneys, to fill the gaps in the department. So we have less full-time staff members that I'm trying to buttress with outside staff members, but I also am trying to be as vigilant as I can to try to retain those positions and continue to try to recruit the best that we can for the city. We continue to aggressively, I'm in round after round after round for interviews, whether that be for summer internships, to third associates, to paralegals, to second associates, and first associates. And I'm also going to probably at some point this year be trying to replace a deputy city solicitor who's going to be retiring right around this time next year, and that is in litigation, and that's going to be a crucial position that I'm going to be looking to fill. That will save the city money long run, as you know, if I can get the best and the brightest to represent the city, and that's going to remain my goal for the rest of the duration. Settlements are going to be something that I'm going to probably have to come back to this council at some point. As you know, historically, I don't know what those are yet, but right now we don't know which ones they're going to be poised or primed to be able to be before this council for the next fiscal year, and we'll take that as it comes. I'm glad to answer any questions that the council may have.
Thank you, Solicitor. Any questions from the council? Councilor Santinello.
Yeah. The question I have is the outside legal fees that we pay, that actually saves the city money, doesn't it? Because there's no retirement to pay those people. There's no benefits to pay those people. You're just paying them for services rendered?
Through the president to Councilor Santinello, yes and no. But there aren't as many carrying costs as you know. We're not paying for health insurance. We're not paying for retirement for any of those positions. But oftentimes the service is more limited. Right now, I'd rather have full-time staff members that whatever is coming through the door, which is every day there's something new coming through the door, I'd like to assign to current staff members. Right now, if I don't have either the expertise or the ability to handle that, I have to go outside, so then we enter into a contract to do that either one or two pieces of litigation. So it's much more narrow in scope.
My second quick question, you have in the budget here the alcohol beverage licenses, and it looks like there was $401,000 revenue that came to your department from those?
Yes.
And it's bumping to $450,000. Are we issuing new licenses?
We have additional licenses. We continue, there is optimism that we believe that there's going to be more requests for licenses over the course of this year because, again, we have available licenses, and we think that some businesses coming out of COVID, we're continuing to see this gradual climb back up to get the numbers that we were in pre-COVID. So we've guesstimated that number.
Thank you so much.
Councilor Santinello. Any other councilors? Councilor Walsh.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I don't know how many minutes you have left, Steve, but I'm wondering about settlements. That isn't anything you can ever predict, is it? How do you handle it in the budget, the settlements?
It's 175,000, I believe, is what we've set aside, or is it 190? And that is what we believe is that's been a historical number. Admittedly a low number, but we believe that that's a fine number, and I'm willing to work with the council. There's always been this, what side of the equation do you want to be in? If I ask for additional money, that might send a signal to the private industry that there's more money to be able to be had to negotiate settlements. I want to try to be as frugal as I can for the city. And so that historic number is a fine number to work off of. But if there is additional need, I'll be back here.
So historically, do you usually have to come back because of those cases?
And it's hard for me to say, Counselor, because I don't know what the history has been. But we obviously had a major settlement this fiscal year that I had to come before the council on, and I don't know what the future's going to hold.
Thank you. Let's hope you don't have any.
Thank you, Counselor Walsh. Any other counselors? Okay, Counselor Allen.
Thanks, Mr. President. This is a tough question. I don't know how to, I'm just going to say, like, because we have a hard time hiring experienced lawyers, are we at significant risk? Or can you head it off at the pass if you see something where you need more people that could be a risk? Do you somehow
My dear friend right here, who has to hear me all the time, understands the need to have good legal representation. So unfortunately, if we need to go outside to get somebody who's skilled in the area that we need to defend, a niche situation, then we're usually always trying to figure out a way. But what we've been able to do in the last, at least this last year, and it's probably going to continue, is offset that with open positions that we have, the full-time positions, and put more money towards OTPS. But we haven't been in that area of not being able to find quality representation. The issue is always cost.
All right, good. Thanks.
Thank you, Counselor Allen. Any other counselors? Okay, seeing none, thank you, Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Next is the school department. See, we have Mr. Roach and Superintendent Denal. Thank you for coming. Counselors, I just told you I'm going to give you a summary before everybody, but this is the one that I cannot because they have their own budget. But the one line item is on 489 in your budget, and as always, our only jurisdiction is related to transportation. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. President, and good evening to all of the city councilors. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you on our budget, and thank you for your ongoing support of the Springfield School Department. And we know we have a very large budget. You all are always so willing to support everything that we do in the district, and I know that we appreciate everything that you do for us and what you will be doing for us this year. Just wanted to point out a couple of things, and then, of course, Chief Roach, who is the master budget, he's like the budget master, he's a budget guru. He's going to be coming and sharing with you much more details about our budget. So we do have a budget of about $670 million in our general funds, but all funds in were around $763 million. The good news is we extend the vast majority of that funds directly to the classroom. We are looking at supporting the key areas, and there are some increases in some key areas to ensure that we have alignment to our students' greatest needs. So we definitely have increased support around early literacy. We've increased support around middle school transformation. We know that there is a large need for Chapter 74 programming, so we have funneled additional funds in that direction. And of course, we know that mental health has been an issue for not only the nation, but most definitely for our district and our city as well. So we're mindful of the fact that we need to continue to support mental health and making sure that our students are whole and enjoying the educational journey, so we have increased funds there. We also wanted to make sure that our strategic priorities of post-secondary success is well funded in addition to college and career readiness. We want our students to be competitive, not just locally, but also nationally, so we are making sure that they're receiving those funds. Overall, as I stated, $763 million for our all-in, including funds through grants and things of that nature. And unfortunately, we are looking at an increase in transportation. Those funds continue to offer a bit of a challenge to us, but we know getting our students to school safely is a priority for the city councilors as well as it is for the school department. I'm going to leave it at that, and then Chief Roach will fill in the rest. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Superintendent. Okay, you focus on the transportation piece, because that's the only part that we have jurisdiction over, Council.
Mr. President, may I just say how nice it is to have the superintendent join us? Nice to have you here in the chambers.
Very happy to have you. Thank you for coming. Pat?
So transportation is a $2.4 million, 5.31% increase. Vanpool and First Student are our two biggest transportation providers. They both went up by CPI, so First Student was a 2.9% increase in their rates, and Vanpool was a 3% increase in their rates. However, the charter schools still continue to expand. Veritas is added a high school. I think this is the last year of their ad, so we had to add a couple buses. Each bus is $96,000. And then Libertas moved locations. They used to be downtown on Chestnut Street, and now they're moving up to Liberty. We had to add a bus for Libertas. And homeless transportation this year is up to $2.66 million. So homeless transportation, for anybody who doesn't know, if a kid from Springfield becomes homeless and they put him, he ends up in Greenfield, we send a bus up to Greenfield, a van, bring him back to Springfield. Vice versa, if a student from Greenfield's in Springfield, we split the cost with the other districts. So this year for homeless, we're up to $2.66 million. And I'm happy to answer any more specific questions councilors might have.
Thank you. Questions from the council? Councilor Delgado. Well, you got to go first last time. You can go first this time. Councilor Delgado.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do got a few questions and a few comments. First of all, thank you to Dr. Denal for being here. Super excited to have you here and excited to hear all the great things you're doing and the fact that you finally got some support in the two assistant superintendents. I don't know how you've been doing it over the past year or so. I'm very excited to hear the work that you're doing, not around retention, but also students after success, after they graduate, because I know we tout a lot about our graduation rates, but my main concern is I don't really care about graduation rates if our students aren't prepared after. So I really just want to make sure that I say that I'm glad that you're focusing on that. When it comes to the busing, I know that we have increases and whatnot. I did have a question, and I know this happened previous to Dr. Denal. We had an audit committee last fall, I want to say, in terms of some stuff that wasn't handled on the First Student side. I just want to make sure that all that stuff is corrected, and have we been able to save any money or get any money based off of those issues that we had?
Last year, we issued significant fines to First Students because of their poor on-time performance. I believe it saved the city almost $1 million. This year, we haven't had to issue any fines. They've they've met the on-time performance. Up until this prior month, they've been at 96, 97% the majority of the year, which is exactly where we want to be.
All right, because that's definitely one of obviously the biggest expenses on our side, and I want to make sure that, if they're not complying with stuff 100%, that we are saving those dollars. We shouldn't be paying for anything. So I'm glad to hear that that's being rectified, as well as I think there were a number of things that procurement had to work on as well in terms of certifications and insurance things. So I'm hoping that that's getting cleared up as well.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Delgado. Councilor Santinello.
Yeah, on the transportation section, the city council, I think, didn't we just change the bidding from 3 years to 5 years on First Student, not First Student, but on that contract? And were they the only bidders? Yes. Because I thought we passed that to open up the bidding, and we only got one bid, and now First Student now has a 5-year contract, not a 3. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Santinello. Councilor Govan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not sure who this question is for. First of all, thank you, Superintendent Denali, for being here and for being our superintendent, and for the budget guy. Excellent job. The question about transportation, I asked it in the Finance Committee earlier today. Is there a way, and I'm not sure who's going to do this or who would do it, if it's the school department that would do it or if the city council would do it, to do some sort of audit on the transportation efficiency? Because right now I'm watching school buses, big 63 passenger school buses drive with 6 or 7 kids on the bus. My granddaughter's one of them. She takes the bus, and there's no more in the morning or afternoon, no more than 7 or 8 kids on the bus. And if a lot of buses are like that, I think we're wasting, money, we're wasting gas, electricity, if they're electric buses. I don't think we have electric buses here. But it's a waste. So I'm wondering if there's a way for us to look at that. I don't know if it's that the school department will do it, or if the city council will do it, that might be a conversation that we can have.
Thank you, Councilor Govan. We always look at bus efficiency. That's really important to us. I know sometimes people see buses driving around the city with only a few kids on them. Our buses we pay per bus per day. So a lot of times the bus will be full driving high school kids in the morning, and then in their second run may not have as many kids because we're not busing as many kids during that time, but we do have the bus fill at a different tier. And as far as an audit goes, we'd be happy to partner with the city council to do anything to improve services and reduce costs.
Thank you. That was my question. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Govan. Any other councilors? Councilor Allen?
Thanks, Mr. President. Yeah, Pat, just a follow-up on that. We talk about this every year. The only things we can, we can affect on your budget, but I'm not sure we've ever done anything about it. Like, I can't recall us sitting down together, your side, our side, and saying, we've been doing this forever. It hurts the city side. Just having a discussion and coming up with ideas, options, whatever. Do you recall? I don't think we've ever really tried to solve it. We say it every year, and then what is the number this year?
I'm sorry, the total number?
Yeah.
$45,269,337.
Wasn't that long ago, there was 35, I remember 35. So anyway, parenthetically, I'm just putting that out there that maybe this year we should at least look at it a little bit and push somewhere. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Councilor Click Bruce?
Thank you, Council President, and to our esteemed Superintendent, Dr. Denal, thank you for being here, and Chief Roach. Really, it's a comment. I know our time is running short. I just want to just say thank you for all that you do for our students and making sure, obviously, we're talking about our transportation, but that's a big part of our safety and for our students. So definitely looking forward to collaborating, working together, see how we can figure this out further. And I'm definitely interested in an audit too as well, just on the fact of just the safety of those buses that are driving our students. We've seen some stuff on social media. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it as well, where we had buses kind of running through stop signs, and different things. So it's not the time and place for now, but I'm here in support of your budget, and I'm looking forward to working with you more collaboratively moving forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor Click Bruce. Any other councilors?
Yes, I would like to speak.
Councilor Whitfield?
Thank you, Mr. President. Sorry, I was driving back from the airport, but I'm here now, and I just wanted to welcome the Superintendent Denali to probably her first budget meeting, but also wanted to echo what Councilor Delgado said. Just from working at STIC and HCC, a lot of the Springfield Public School students still need remedial classes. And I don't think just passing the students through, and I know transportation is our issue, but we still have to say it as city councilors, pushing the kids through with, I don't know, night classes, online courses, and things like that, where you could use all types of other devices to help answer questions and things like that, is the best way to educate our students, because they're not being educated. And I'm talking about some of my own family when they can't use appropriate grammar and punctuation and spelling, and don't know what, like, words that I think that they should know what they mean. They don't know what they mean. So I'm just want to ask quickly, what is being put in place for that? And is any of that budgeted in to help get our students to where they really need to be educationally?
Thank you so much, Councilor Whitfield, for that question. It's a valid question, and it is definitely a concern of ours as well. We're taking a closer look at what's happening in every classroom across the city. I've done close to 400 classroom observations with my team. We go in, we take a look at those high leverage instructional strategies. We take a look at the standards, the college and career readiness state standards, and we're looking at alignment to the grade level standard to ensure that our students are doing exactly what you're stating, being ready for college and career. without remediation. So we are definitely looking at that Tier 1 instruction in every classroom in every school across the city, focusing really on that 9th through 12th grade shift that needs to happen to ensure that our students are not just being pushed along and then graduating with a piece of paper that really does not open doors for them. We want them to graduate with those skills, making sure that those 6 pillars for our portrait of a graduate become a reality, because we don't feel that our students can be college and career ready without having those skills in place by the time they walk the stage. So we are really, really taking a good look at the assessments that we're offering, unit assessments, those end of unit assessments, formative assessments, summative assessments, and looking at the skill acquisition. So we are meeting about this every single Monday morning, drilling down to the root cause, and really trying to figure out what do we need to do differently so all of our students graduate college and career ready. We want them to have the skills because we know that this chamber will be filled up with those graduates in the future, and we want them to be able to lead as effectively as you all are currently leading. So we are really focusing on it, making sure that we know what do our students need to know and be able to do to be able to compete, not only just in the region, but also across the nation.
Well, thank you for that, Superintendent, and I definitely applaud your efforts. I thank you for sitting in those classrooms and really having a hands-on approach, instead of just touting graduation rates and lowering dropout rates. It's important that our youth and our children are educated. And then finally, I'm gonna say congratulations to Terry Poe and Jose Escobano for becoming the new assistant superintendents. And I know that they are very well respected in the community. And I just wanted to say, I think that they are excellent choices. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Councilor Delgado.
Thank you. I just wanted to add one more thing. We talk a lot about workforce and recruitment in the city, and I know we've had a conversation, and I just want to double down again that, and you know this, that, we have, 24,000 students, and that's our biggest workforce, and the work that you're doing to prepare them for the future. But I'd like to see continued opportunities for our students here in the city of Springfield. You hear folks from different departments talking about job openings. We have the students, we have potential talent. I'd like to see an increase in internships, apprenticeships, some type of other cadet type programs to get those students here so that we can fill those with our students so they can get the experience up front. And so I know that's stuff that you're looking at as well, but I just wanted to make sure I reiterate it here in front of some of our department heads.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when I started in July, I took a tour of the many amazing construction sites throughout the schools, all the capital work that was being done. And I was really impressed with the quality of work being done and the volume of work being done. But I did have a question about our employment rate, especially for our Chapter 74 students. So any given year, we graduate a number of students who are very skilled in the very areas that I was watching construction happen in. So I know that John on the city side, Pat Roach on the school department side are working with the unions of the city to ensure that there is a pipeline for our Chapter 74 graduates to enter into the workforce, work in Springfield, stay in Springfield, contribute to the tax base of the city, for sure.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Delgado. Councilor Walsh, then Councilor Santinelli.
Just getting a green light. Just to follow up on that, I did ask the superintendent of police, but I'm going to ask you, are you having any trouble recruiting teachers?
We are. It's a national issue, and we are struggling with it. However, I did meet with my HR department late last week, and we came up with a recruitment plan and strategies to make sure that we are going into those colleges. We have partnerships with many of the colleges, and I, quite frankly, need to have our recruitment team in those colleges every month, being very active, highly visible, and being very strategic and intentional around hiring those folks so that they stay in Springfield. So we are also reaching out to other colleges not only just within driving distance, but we may have to get on a couple of planes because we want to make sure that we are recruiting and retaining a diverse workforce. We want the best and the brightest, and we may have to go a little beyond Western Mass to find them. But yes, we have revamped our recruitment and retention. It's an ongoing process. We're going to increase professional development for our principals so they can understand exactly what it takes to recruit. And we're borrowing some of the strategies from our charter friends, because our charter and private folks, they understand the competition that they're in when it comes to hiring and recruiting and attracting the best and the brightest. So we most definitely are looking to be very strategic and intentional, and we're looking to make sure our students have licensed professionals in front of them.
Thank you, Councilor Wells. Councilor Santana.
Real quick, Superintendent Denal, do you know where we are with because it's been reported in the papers, where we are with Washington School and Alice Beal on demolition?
I can turn that over to Chief Roach because he's well-versed in that.
Thank you.
We're in the process of building a new Harena Elementary School. We're in the very beginning stages of a new Kensington and White Street. But the MSBA has invited us in for both of those schools to do a joint school, a combined school. We have applied for a joint Beal in Washington. However, the application was just submitted, so we haven't heard anything back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Santinello. Any other councilors? Okay. I would just like to follow up on a point that was made a few times. The transportation budget's now at over $45 million, and we do bring it up every year. I know you guys are doing everything you can, and a COLA adjustment from last year isn't unreasonable. But Councilor Allen said he couldn't recall us doing something, but we did many years ago have a joint meeting in here with then Senator Lesser talking about whether or not the city of Springfield could be included in some special legislation to allow for the funding formula that applies for regional school districts to also apply for large school districts, gateway city school districts like Springfield, so that we can realize some of those same funding mechanisms from the Commonwealth. It has created sort of a really unjust circumstance, in my opinion. You have really affluent rural or suburban communities like Wilbraham and Hamden, Southwick and Granville and Tolland, all getting the benefit of about 25% of their budget for transportation covered by the state, and Springfield gets a goose egg. So I think, you know, obviously there's a lot that we can do to try and see about cutting or raising additional revenues, but one thing that I think we should look further into, I'd like to see us look further into, is revisiting that discussion. So Councilor Walsh chairs the Interstate and Federal Government Relations Committee, and Councilor Perez is the City Council's School Committee liaison. I know those are two committees that don't usually get a lot of action, but Councilor Walsh, if you were willing, I would say it would be appropriate to revisit that discussion. Obviously, it's not going to be in time for this budget, but maybe we can bring some of our state delegation in and see if there's a larger appetite to pursue that in a way that was not the case.
We've been trying to coordinate the schedules. It's not always easy, but I'd be happy to do that. I think any reduction in transportation would be a huge help on the city side.
Right. Thank you. Okay. So thank you very much, Superintendent and Chief, for coming down. That'll conclude your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next, we have capital asset. I see Mr. Garvey's here. It is page 195 in your books. Okay. And
Thank you, Mr. President, councilors.
Mr. Garvey, before you start, we've got flat FTEs, 5 FTEs, same as last year, and there is an increase in personal services that drives their percentage budget. Mr. Garvey.
So our department is in charge of management of any construction of buildings and parks over $1 million. We have 3 project managers, myself, and a project administrator. We're staying at the same 5 FTEs, so really nothing has changed. We have a lot of projects coming up. As you know, any project now seems to be well over $1 million, so we're a very busy office.
Thank you, Mr. Garvey. Questions for Mr. Garvey? Okay. Seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Garvey.
Thank you.
Next is the Office of Procurement. Ms. Stabilo? Okay, so this is page 153 in your books. 7 FTEs, staying the same, 5.3% increase overall. Ms. Stadler.
So really no changes. Our department handles over 11,000 bid requests or purchasing requests of supplies and services on the city and school side. We had over 300 contracts this year. We had over 250 bids. We have one new senior buyer, which is an upgrade from her existing position. She deals with 66 schools. She has an assistant, and our other staff members handle all other departments.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Stablo. Any questions for the Office of Procurement? Okay. Seeing none?
Sorry, I have a question. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Who was that? Counselor Whitfield, is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. If you could raise your
I-
hand, it's easier for me to see if you raise your
Yeah,
hand.
I can't. I'm driving also. I'm trying to get downtown, so I can't raise my hand. Sorry about that.
Okay, go ahead.
So my question for Lauren is about the question that I always ask, and how and where are these procurement opportunities advertised?
They are advertised in the Springfield Republican. They are advertised on the city website, the state procurement website called Combis. If they're over 100,000, they're advertised in the state's goods and services bulletin. If it's construction, and the central register.
And again, I ask this every time, if we could consider advertising in more culturally diverse advertising methods like 90.7 WTCC, maybe in other newspapers that are culturally diverse, like Point of View. And I always forget the name of the Latino one, because sometimes we miss opportunities. And where exactly are they in the Republican?
They're under legal advertisements.
Legal advertisement, because a lot of folks don't even know where to find them. So it'll be good to, sometimes like point that out. And
That's kind of why we put it on the city website, because it has a link that also sends them directly to us. So if they can't find what they're looking for, or they can't find the bid, they have our contact information down below.
right. And some people, we do have like a digital divide here. So that might work for some. It doesn't work for all. And I know it's hard to reach everyone. I do applaud your efforts in getting the information out. I know that Judy Kroll goes to the C3 meetings and always share the procurement opportunities. And you always send them to us now. So I do applaud like that. But I'm always going to say it every single time that we advertise in more diverse media outlets. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Counselor Whitfield. Any other questions for procurement? Counselor Delgado.
Actually wanted to follow up on what Councilor Whitfield was saying. Where do the largest percentage of your responses come from? Like, is there a particular method that you get a better response from?
Actually, the city website, because you can just go onto our city website and download a request to us. So we get the request automatically and we mail you out the bids right away. Whereas if you, I don't know how many people use Mass Live, but we are seeing such an increase with our city website on the Apache.
All right. And when you say the Republican, are you using Republican and Mass Live as one?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not necessarily saying the Republican newspaper, because I'm like, I don't know how many people still read the newspaper.
Yes, so
but if-
we pay the Republican, but it gets put in the newspaper and on Mass Live.
All right. Just because, I agree, I think we need to find other ways. And I will say that, and I don't know if Andy's here, and as much as he touts the website, I think sometimes the website's not the easiest to navigate. And so I do believe, and I agree with Councilor Whitfield, that we've got to find other ways to get out to different folks, including some of those more culturally responsive media outlets. But I was just curious to see where your biggest response, because I know you guys also, we've had to give more money because you guys have to put out bids multiple times. Not sure why, but just curious to know, like, if where you're putting them at is part of that reason. And I know you've been here for a while, so I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job, trust me. I'm just kind of more curious on where we're getting the most feedback when it comes to those procurements. So, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Delgado. Any other counselors with questions for the Office of Procurement? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Stabilo.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Board of Assessors, Mr. Greenhall. Page 159 in your books. It's an increase of 1 FTE, and the total overall budget change is 11.2. Mr. Greenhall?
Yes, good evening. Patrick Greenhall, Chair of the Board of Assessors, presenting our budget for fiscal '26. And we do have an increase of 1 position, and that was a commercial appraiser position, which is extremely important for us. So that was approved by the mayor and CAFO, Kathy Bono. And the other increase would have just been the cost of living adjustment for our employees.
Thank you, Mr. Greenhall. Any questions for the Board of Assessors? Counselor Allen?
Thanks, Mr. President. Thanks, Patrick. Good to have you here. I'm interested in all those initiatives that we have, to reduce taxes. There's about 5 of them.
Sure.
And you make presentations on them. How is that turning out? Do you know what kind of numbers we get in terms of people who actually utilize those programs?
We have approximately 1,050 people who apply and qualify, and some of the programs, just real briefly, are for someone over the age of 65. There's income and asset restrictions. There's a $1,000 reduction in taxes. For someone over the age of 70 with just an asset restriction, there's a $175 reduction. And the city council and the mayor just adopted for this fiscal year, doubling the exemption amounts for our disabled veterans. So it was originally 400 to 1,000, and now it'll be 800 to 2,000. So that will be in effect for fiscal '26. And
what was your number? Did you say 150 people?
1,050.
1,050?
Yes.
Okay. And did it grow a lot last year?
It's been relatively consistent. It goes up a little bit each year, but it's relatively stable.
Okay. So is there, in your opinion, are there a lot of more people who would be eligible to do it who have not started?
I don't know. I've tried to go out to some neighborhood councils. So we've put in a good effort to try to inform people of this. So I don't know. I'm sure there's always additional people who would qualify who just don't know about it. But we do put in our best effort to get the information out there.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor Allen. Counselor Santinello?
Yeah, under the pilot program and the 121A,
Yes.
looks like there's a bump in revenue from 2024 to recommended this year.
Yes, so that's mainly accounted for in MGM revenue payment under the 121A program.
How many other companies have 121As with the city?
We have 3.
Could you make those available to me?
Yes, certainly. Yes, of course.
Thank you.
2 of which will be expiring within 2 years. MGM is obviously relatively new.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Counselor Santinello. Counselor Govan?
President, and thanks, Patrick, for that report. And regarding the programs that the city has available, I know that, Patrick and I and Councilor Whitfield went on a few tours in the last couple of years. We haven't been as busy this year. And I know that you send them out in the bills that you send out quarterly. And I don't look at that. I'm guilty of that. But I'm just wondering if maybe we could do something going to the neighborhood councils again to let more people know about that, because especially during this time, and I've been talking about it, for a long time now, people are going to be more strapped. And I know this year's budget, there was a 6.1% increase in the budget overall. And I know that the people's income is not going to increase. So hopefully maybe we can do something like that again, because I know we've done it before. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And I am happy to go to any meetings for any city councilors who would like me to present. I'm happy to participate.
Thank you, Counselor.
Patrick is very responsive that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Govan. Counselor Whitfield?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm actually walking in, but I didn't want to hold the meeting up. Patrick, I have to ask, are we going to see an increase in property taxes? I know we don't have jurisdiction over the revenue, but I still have to ask for my constituents.
So obviously, we can't determine what a tax increase would be at this time, but if generally, if the budget is going up, then taxes will go up as well.
So I seen like a $13 million increase in property tax revenue in the budget. Have we discussed any offsets of that increase yet?
I have not, no.
There hasn't been any discussion yet. I think like now is the time, and I think I say it every year when we should be discussing it, because once it's put into the budget, we have to meet that obligation, and we're going to have to raise property tax. And so, through the finance chair, Tim Allen, we should be having these discussions right now so we can inform our residents of what's gonna take place. Because clearly there's gonna be an increase for the what, 10th year? 10th year in a row? And like Councilor Govan said, they can't afford it. Our residents cannot afford another tax increase. So Patrick, I do appreciate your willingness to come on tours with us. You're always willing, you're always knowledgeable, you're always helpful. But this is a discussion we should be having during budget season, not after.
You have to go now before you got in there. They just told me.
Okay. Oh, hi.
Welcome.
Yes, well, most of it, it just cut out about like 30 seconds before you walked in.
Now is the time for us to talk about property taxes. And I just want the public to know that the budget is what dictates the increase. And so when false narratives go out in the paper that the city council approved a tax factor that increased the property tax, that is not true. I got so many calls like that because that's how they write it on the website. I don't want it written on the website like that this year for the finance team. Do not put that the city council is the cause of the tax increase, because it's happening right now in the budget. And that needs to be understood. This is no dig at you. I love working with you, Patrick. You are so honest, you're fair, and you do what you can. And you always come out to the community. But I have to make sure that our constituents know when property tax increase is happening, it's gonna happen now. It's a $13 million, I guess, revenue increase in the property tax from looking at the budget. I could be a little bit off, but it's still an increase. And I also just want to put out there, what is the administration going to do to offset that increase? Again, I'm going to say it loud, I'm going to say it publicly. I will not approve a budget that has a tax increase, and I don't care if it's $1. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Any other councilors? Councilor Walsh.
Yes, quickly, Mr. President, I would just like to follow up on the comments that have been made about our assessor. He has been so accessible to constituents, and he doesn't mind taking the tough questions, and I think his attitude has really helped a lot of people understand the whole process, and I want to thank him for being so responsive, and actually you help us do our job better. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Walsh. Any other councilors for the Board of Assessors? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Next is internal audit, page 95 in your books. We have Auditor No here. It is a level FTE situation, 3 employees remaining the same, an overall budget increase of 0.9%. Mr. No?
Thank you, Mr. President. The Office of Internal Audit provides independent reviews and assessments of city departments and programs to help improve their operations and to prevent fraud, waste, and abuse. Our scope includes city departments, including school department, city retirement, and vendors that do business with the city. For fiscal year 25, we expect to complete 10 audits and reviews. They include Parks and Recreation, the school contract review, first student transportation contract review, and a cybersecurity review at Springfield Public Schools. We maintain the city's fraud hotline and investigate allegations from that hotline. We provide consulting services to city management which in FY26 included the review of overtime at the fire department. We help the city reduce its external audit fees by allocating eligible portions to federal grants, and we also perform audit procedures over student activities at the Springfield School Department. For FY26, the audit plan, which will be presented officially in a couple of weeks, include a procurement review at the empowerment zone, a seized cash, confidential funds, and a property review at the evidence room at the Springfield Police Department, street lights and maintenance, streetlight maintenance and repair review, a street maintenance review, and a cybersecurity review at the Springfield Public Libraries. For our FY26 budget is a level service budget. It funds 3 full-time employees, and OTPS is mostly comprised of external audit fees, which is non-discretionary. Federal regulations require the city's financial statements be audited annually. With that, I'll entertain any questions from City Council.
Thank you, Mr. No. Any questions for the Department of Internal Audit? Councilor Santinelli.
Mr. No, when you do audits, internal audits, and you've done them in the parks, you've done them at the golf course, when those audits are done, are those made available to the City Council when you're done?
Yes, they are. And they're also published on our website.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Santinello. Councilor Whitfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, hi. You were my first budget, you know, when I became a city councilor. And I think you do outstanding work. But my question is, like, we heard during this process that some of the councilors want the transportation audited. How do we go about requesting audits that's not in your plan? What's the additional amount that you have in the budget to do these audits?
So every year, as I'll discuss in more detail next in a couple of weeks when the FY26 audit plan is presented, is we allocate about $400 for the special requests. And these requests can come from anybody, the public, management, city council. And as I had mentioned before, when we entertain these requests, we assess them to see if they have an impact on the city. And we take on those requests that have the most impact. If they don't have an impact in the current year, we carry them forward for reassessment when we do our annual audit plan to see if it makes sense to do them at that time. Due to our limited budget and constraint, we don't have enough staff to do, entertain every request. We'd love to, but we just don't have the resources. So we have to prioritize which engagements that we can take on and that have the most impact on the city.
So what I'm going to suggest is, like, when other departments need funding, especially if a request comes from the city council, then maybe come to the city council and ask for more funding to get the request that we want to see done achieved, because I have put in requests that it was like a no, we don't have enough funding, we don't have enough hours, but it's important to me. And just like when the city departments need more funding, they come before the council and they ask for it. We want the same type of respect when we're putting requests through, because the transportation one is a big one. And I know that the school department was like withholding money or fining the transportation companies. How much did they save? Like, do we know that? Where did that money go? Did it go to free cash? Like, we would like to know these things because we could put that money right back into our education system. So that is like a big audit. I think that should be done. But I would also like to request that if you don't have enough hours, that you work with the finance department, especially if the request is coming from city council. I know I put in a request for ARPA, did not get done because there wasn't enough hours, and I know that that was a big one. But my constituents, they were calling me. There was a lot of mismanagement, mishandling done with the ARPA fund overall. And now there's ARPA funds, but it's just being dictated by, I don't know, maybe finance or other departments, economic development. And we don't know what's happening with these funds until the new program comes out. And I don't think that's the right way to handle it. We should know ahead of time. And so I just want to put that ask out there to you.
Sure.
If you don't have enough work with finance, see if they can find it, come to us for, to appropriate more funds. Thank you.
Well, Lou, so if I could just respond to a couple of your comments. We did do a transportation audit in the fall. We did come up with numerous recommendations. We plan on doing a follow-up audit shortly in the next 2 months. And with respect to ARPA, we typically don't duplicate efforts in our auditing procedures. So ARPA is subject for audit by the external auditors. It also had undergone an audit by the federal government. So when there is another agency auditing that subject area, we typically step back and let them handle it.
Well, from my understanding, the state wouldn't get involved because I requested it myself. And I don't know what happened with the federal government's audit, but we need some real-time data also. So if there's something that can be corrected, it can be corrected in real time. And so that when the audit from the city of Springfield goes to the federal government, we're not looking crazy.
Yes.
Okay, so that's my request. As far as the transportation audit, did that come before the city council for review?
Yes, during the audit committee meeting that was presented.
It was presented?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm gonna call you personally because I wasn't there.
Okay.
And get more information, but looking forward to step 2 of the audit. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Anyone else with something for Mr. No? Councilor Allen, then Councilor Walsh.
Thanks, Mr. President. I just want to add that. It's not working. There it is. I just want to add, I agree with Councilor Whitfield. We've been talking about school transportation for 10 years. That's an audit that we should try to get on the priority list and have you help us meet with the school department and see if it's $45 million ticket we don't have any control over. So I just want to put my thumb on that scale as well and say we could use your help there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to ask, how many employees are in the internal audit department?
Including myself, there are 3.
3. Have you made any requests for additional personnel?
No.
Okay, do you think that's something you would need to do to fulfill all these requests for audits, particularly tackling something like school transportation?
Yes, in the future. My concern is the school department comprises well over 50% of the city's budget. And I would like to have an additional staff to address that department to see, to have more reviews and audits done at that department. So I do see sometime in the future our department increasing. And also to take on more requests from city council as well.
Well, I think we'd be happy to help you with that request.
Thank you, Councilor Walsh. Councilor Govan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Director No, did you say that you did a transportation audit?
Yes,
When was that done?
that was presented in the fall, this past fall.
This past fall. And what was audited exactly? I'm sorry.
The actual contract with First Student.
The contract, okay. Because I'm wondering if, I don't know if maybe this is, we're not asking the right person, but when I'm thinking about, auditing the transportation department, the contract itself, but then like I said earlier today, are the school buses being run effectively and efficiently, because, I do see empty school buses, although the finance, I think his name was, I'm not going to say it because I can't remember. But he said that I guess in the early morning, there's a full school buses of, high school students. Maybe later on, there's just like 6 or 7 students. So that's the kind of, and I'm not sure if you do that kind of audit because it sounds like you deal more with financials. Is that something that you would be able to do?
Yes, we would be able to
Okay.
help with that. But before embarking on any engagement, we would get more information in terms of the, understand the objectives, the scope, and timeframe.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Govan. Councilor Click-Bruce.
Thank you, Council President. Director No, I just have you mentioned something about streetlights, which is something we were trying to get an audit on as well. Maybe it's more of a question, maybe you can help us with, and not, obviously not now, but what we spend, and then also like, working lights in our city. That's a part of public safety, and we be getting some roadblocks, I feel, with Eversource. So I know you mentioned in your presentation about streetlights. Is that something you'll be able to do for us?
Yes.
Okay.
And I will reach out to City Council to address any of the concerns that they're seeing in the city regarding streetlights.
Okay, I'll reach out to you actually, but thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilor Click Bruce. Councilor Delgado.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just really quickly, I just want to mention to my colleagues, so, we have a number of internal audit meetings, and we actually have one coming up, I believe, in a couple weeks. And particularly on the transportation piece, that's one that we had in the fall where I think it was Councilor Allen and I that were on that one. And that's where some of the line of questioning that I had earlier for the school department was based off of that audit. And the reason why he's doing a follow-up is because we asked for, Councilor Allen and I had asked for a follow-up on that one because we were really concerned. So I would encourage my colleagues, if you can attend to those internal audits, I'll make sure to let you guys know when we have specific one on transportation again, because that was a big one. And so I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Delgado. Councilor Davila has his hand up. I want to remind councilors, we have 4 minutes left in this meeting and 2 other items to get to. We do have a full agenda at 7 o'clock. Councilor Davila? Okay, Councilor Davila, we cannot hear you.
Oh, okay, sorry, I was on mute, my apologies. Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Auditor, thank you for your presentation. I just want to put it on the record. I met with the auditor 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We did talk about the audit for the lights, and he did put that on his docket. You did mention that you were going to have a conversation with the mayor on this issue. Were you able to have a conversation, auditor?
Excuse me, I was not able to hear your question, Councilor Davila.
Were you able, I was saying, put it on the record that I met with you about 3 weeks ago and requested an audit for the streetlights. You had mentioned to me you were going to present it to the mayor along with other audit plans.
Yes.
Were you able to do that? Did you talk to the mayor about doing the audit for the streetlights?
Yes, I did present the FY26 audit plan to the administration, which included the mayor.
Okay, all right. And when do you think you can get started with that streetlight audit?
We plan on working on that probably in this summer, early summer.
In the early summer of 2026?
Of
2025.
2025.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Auditor. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Davila. That'll include the internal audit budget presentation. Thank you very much. We have a few more departments to hear from and 3 minutes to spare. We've got HR, Labor Relations, and Employee Benefits. Bill, are you able to do that all together for us, please?
HR, Labor Relations.
Is Employee Benefits here? Okay,
Yes.
so we'll hear from Caitlin right after Bill, but Bill, you got the floor. Two lost employees and a reduction of 17.6% in his budget.
No.
No? Oh, that's Employee Benefits Department. Sorry. Wrong page. Okay, level funded 8.5 FTEs and a reduction of 0.2% in the budget.
Yes, 8.5 FTEs, reduction of 0.2% in the budget. We do the same thing every year. We do the recruitment, we do the advertising, we do the training, the onboarding, the public records management of personnel records. We do the labor relations, and that's everything from grievance administration, collective bargaining, representation in court, all the way up to the SJC with the 2.5 FTEs we have over in labor relations.
Thank you, Bill. Any questions for HR and Labor Relations Director? Okay, seeing none. Thank you for waiting. It pays to go last. Thank you, Bill. Next, we have Employee Benefits, Ms. Julius. And I stole your thunder earlier, so a reduction of 2 employees and a reduction of 17.6% in budget overall. Ms. Julius?
Correct. So we are fully staffed with 5 full-time employees. We have 1 part-time employee. This budget allows us to educate and enroll all city, school, and retirees into benefits, including health insurance, life insurance, flex spending, deferred comp. We just wrapped up open enrollment for FY '26, which included 2 benefit fairs, and now we are actively processing all those changes.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Julius? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilors, that will conclude our budget hearing. Council Committee of the Whole is adjourned. We do not have time for a recess, so we have the same link. We are going to switch right to the regularly scheduled meeting. So focus, if you can just give me a thumbs up and let me know we're ready to continue to broadcast.